Happy New Year. I am here because I wanted to share about a class that I'm taking. I'm actually just started a year-long course called the Visionary Business Mastery course. I figure after almost 20 years of having these businesses, it's high time I learned actually how to really run them. But I've never been interested, I guess, in traditional business education, being educated in the traditional manner, or really traditional reading instruction, or education classes. The bureaucracy of it really has never appealed to me. But this course actually is doing business coming from a heart-centered place, and that does really interest me. So my first homework assignment I've been working on today, and it's to do a strategic annual business plan. Business success plan is actually what it is. I've never actually done a business plan, but it's a vision, and really has been a challenge, and it has required me to do a whole lot of soul searching. And one of the questions is, what is it you really want? What do you want with your business? Isn't that a good question to be asking after 20 years? And of course, as we say, always in our mission is, in our byline is to teach the world to read. And I truly do want that. But what do I really, really want? And it just came to me today, and I felt so compelled to do this video, and I didn't want to. I've actually sat in front of this camera for about a half an hour thinking, I'm not doing this. And like, yeah, I'm so compelled to do it that I'm doing it. So what do I really want? And what I really want is to help squelch the suffering that's around literacy. And at my reading center here, of course, we see kids and adults of all ages that are suffering because they're struggling readers, but I'm talking about the suffering of learners in the regular classroom that I've been in thousands of. The suffering of teachers who, I don't know how they do what they do. Teachers who have these great hearts and work so hard teaching kids with all these different ranges of ability levels, trying to teach them how to read, or teaching older grades when they can't do that, and not really knowing why what they're doing isn't working well. When, to be perfectly honest, and teachers tell me this in my trainings all the time, they haven't been taught what they need to know in college, which is really horrible. I think you would agree. So teachers are suffering, parents are suffering. I was a suffering parent 22 years ago when Colleen was a struggling reader who could memorize any story put in front of her, and she sounded like a beautiful reader, and she could spell any word on her spelling test, but she couldn't write spell it correctly in writing, and she couldn't read any books she hadn't memorized. So I was suffering, like, what is wrong with my child? And then I'm embarrassed, and she's embarrassed, and you know, it's this big elephant in the room that we're all dealing with quiet desperation. The parents, the children, the teachers. You know, it makes me feel a little emotional. It always does with Colleen. But so what do we do about the suffering of the kids, of the teachers, of the parents, of the people the children that become then adults that are subliterate or completely illiterate, like my dear friend John Corcoran. You know, I'm going to use his phrase. He talks about it as a hole in your soul. If you are not reading to your potential and you can't participate fully in a literate society, you have a hole in your soul. Now, he learned to read at 48 after teaching high school for 17 years at a low elementary reading level, actually. And he just finished his final book, as he calls it. It's called The Reading Gap. I highly recommend it. But he said finally now at the age of 80, he just turned 80 last month, that this hole in his soul is finally healed from writing this book and really speaking the truth about that hole in the soul. So what do I want to do? What do I really want to do? I want to prevent and circumvent the hole in the soul for little kids coming into school and learning reading. I want to heal the hole in the soul for those like my daughter and the thousands of kids that we see, and there's millions more out there, and teens and adults. I want to help heal that hole. And how do we do this? You know, to be perfectly honest, I spent probably the last 18 years thinking, how is it possible that I have the answer? That's ludicrous. Here I am, a nurse. All right, I was great, neonatal ICU nurse. I was really good at it. I had no desire to have a business. I had no desire to learn how to teach anybody how to read. This was never a thing for me, ever. It was some serendipitous divine intervention thing that happened. So it wasn't planned. And so as the years go on, and I've created EBLI and have trained these teachers who come to us, we've never searched them out ever. I actually kind of hide like a chicken, to be honest, because I don't like arguing. I don't like disagreements, all that type of thing. And there's a lot of emotion around reading instruction, and you should do it this way, and no, phonics is horrible, and whole language is horrible, and oh my God, they call it the reading wars for a reason. And I don't like that. I don't like wars of any type, especially if I'm involved in it. So I've been hiding under a bushel basket for the most part until the last 2 years, thinking it's not possible that me with no background in education and no background in business can have the answer that would teach anybody who can speak how to read. That just sounds crazy, right? So I wouldn't believe it. Now I've trained the teachers that have come to us. We've gone in the schools. Those of us here at our reading center, we have this team that's just miracle workers is what they are. And we see miracles all the time, and still I would deny it. When whole schools, whole districts, when their scores would go up so much that the state would investigate them because it was so abnormal, I'd still think this can't be as good as it is. I mean, this is ridiculous. So a couple of years ago, I finally decided to toy with the idea that, okay, maybe it is. All right, so get out there a little bit. Create this online training. Do the things that will help expand the reach a little bit, and come out from under your bushel basket, and don't be afraid that somebody's going to shoot at you or argue with you or be angry because you're teaching in a way that's so different than what's done traditionally, you know. And even so, with trying to kind of hide, there have been, you know, a lot of pushback and resistance. How dare you teach kids how to spell correctly and not let them do this inventive spelling and keep doing that? How dare you say that you have clients that have gotten over dyslexia? How irresponsible of you. Do not ask, you know, teach these kids this boring stuff of reading. Give them a book and just have them read, you know. And I'm like, that just sounds, it doesn't make any logical sense to me. So all of that brings me anxiety, and so I've tried to hide from it. And I've made up my mind this new year that I'm done with that. I am coming out from under the bushel basket, coming out from behind the bushes, and I'm determined, we're determined here. I've changed even this week completely how we are approaching things, how we're going to do things. Yes, we have a phenomenal online training for teachers. We have a phenomenal in-person training. We have our apps that are teaching little kids how to read, and it's unbelievable. But we're teaching thousands, tens of thousands of kids and adults. What about the millions? What am I going to do? I need your help. I really do. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So I guess a question that I ask is, excuse me, what would you do if you were me? That's what I'm wondering, because we have the answer. Isn't that great? We have the answer. But it's kind of the how in this silly, wonderful course that I'm taking. Has me asking, okay, so how do we do this? First of all, I come out from under the bushel basket and quit being a wimp. So I'm doing that. But gosh, there's technology that needs to happen. We've had these great strategic planning meetings here with this unbelievable staff of ours, and we're going to break down the instructions so that it's, you know, me teaching the kids and takes the anxiety off the teachers, so that it's littler chunks for them. We have all of this great plan that's taking form, but we also know we're a small and mighty team, but we need technology people. We need a platform that can host this instruction that we're going to put out even on a wider scale. We need to do it in a way. Right now our online training has facilitators, and it's not scalable to the degree that we need it to be scalable. And I know that you and other people watching this, you know people who are gifted in doing this stuff. I mean, people are doing it. They know technology. They know how to do it. We have, you know, most of the time people are like, oh, I'm going to start a business and figure out something to do. We have the to-do. We know that we can teach anybody how to read. And that is a really wonderful, beautiful gift for sure for the multitudes. But how do we get it out there? How do we even, I'm going to actually market for the first time ever, really, instead of in my nice little secluded area of people that we already know, like EBLI. We're going to get it out there and let the people know. So many teachers say to me, why don't we know about this? How can this be out there and we don't even know? And again, it's because I've been a bit of a chicken, but I'm over it. So I would like your help, and I would like to know, what would you do if you were me? How would you move forward in making this unfold? I'm determined that this is the year. This is the year that this is going to happen, and this is the year that I'm truly focused on making sure that myself and our team here and all of the greater EBLI family that is, so passionate about the work that they're doing, a work that we're doing to teach the world to read, that this just explodes, that it just explodes and it's out to the world in a massive way that by the end of the year I wouldn't even be able to begin to imagine that was possible as I'm sitting here now. But I know it takes a village. I think it takes more than a village. And so I'm asking for help. It's not very easy for me to ask for help either, but I am asking for help, and I would love for you to share your ideas, share in the comments. Feel free to email me at nora@ebli.com. Feel free to share resources. Together we can do it. I've always hesitated. I've had a few business partners along the way, but always the focus is on more the politics and money part of the business thing, which is fine, but it's not my main focus. I don't want to have other people that want to dictate that do this so that you can make more money. I want to keep the quality of EBLI and the integrity of EBLI, and I don't want to go in significant debt, of course. But I want to get, why can't we have the Khan Academy of Reading? What's possible? What's possible? So I'm asking you, because a whole lot of brains, I realize just with us here, our 6, 7, 8 brains together can create so much more and is creating so much more. But when we reach out, and all of you, and we have hundreds of brains and hundreds of resources and hundreds of people who have connections with other people and know about different things, anything is possible. So I am glad that I quit sitting in front of this computer and with that, little camera looking at me thinking, I am not going to do this. But it's important, and so I'm doing it. So I thank you for listening, and I just am really excited to be on this journey and to be feeling courageous, which is not the absence of fear. It's just moving forward in spite of the fear, because it's necessary. And kids deserve this, and teachers deserve this, and parents deserve this, and our society deserves this. And together we can really make a more literate world. So I thank you in advance for helping me with this. And I don't know the answer, but I know that collectively we can figure it out. So I thank you from my heart, and I really, truly wish you a Happy New Year, because it's going to be an epic year for sure. So love to all. And thanks for watching, and thank you for your help.